Hey, YouTube family, and welcome to another edition of The Kevin Strong Show. And in this video, we're going to talk about almost 500,000 homes in the United States is already underwater. What do I mean by that? Well, homies and homettes, people owe more on the house than what it's actually worth. They're upside down. They have what's called negative equity. I told you guys this was going to happen. This is just the beginning. To give you a baseball analogy, I think we're probably in the first inning, the top of the first inning. So we got a long ways to go. I'm excited about to share this content with you. If you're enjoying this type of content, please do me the honor of smashing that like button, commenting and share, because you know I care. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into this article. It's a very short article, and then I'm going to jump back and wrap it up and then give you my little editorial comments as to why I think this is about to get much, much, much worse than better. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the news. So as I told you guys, the title of this article is around 450,000 homeowners are now underwater as early FHA delinquencies hit 2009 levels. Yes, yes, yes. Please believe this. A lot of people think that we're not going to repeat the great financial crisis because we're under different lending standards. We don't have as many toxic mortgages. That is also a misnomer or a misconception. Contrary to popular belief, about 25% of the mortgages that went bad during the great financial crisis during 2008 were considered like subprime mortgages or alt-8 mortgages or no income, no doc, all of that funky kind of stuff. So only 25% represented that bag of bad apples. The lion's share was people treating their homes like an ATM machine, stripping equity out of it by refinancing over and over again, leveraging HELOCs. All of this stuff is coming to a boil. We have some really serious things that we're facing on the economic landscape that I'm going to talk about. But let's go ahead and jump into this article because, like I said, it's kind of short and sweet and to the point. As the housing market continues to implode, making a record drop in pending home sales last month. You can see this is a recent article. It was dated December 8th. Amid canceled deals and price cuts, there are around 450,000 homeowners, home buyers, who owe more than what the house is worth as of the third quarter, basically the end of the third quarter of this year. So the fourth quarter numbers are not even in. So this information comes from Black Knight. They are a kind of like a real estate research firm that puts out really good, solid information. And in my humble opinion, they kind of lean on the conservative side with their numbers. So I think this is much worse than what they're leaning on, but I digress. Of those, around 60%, 270,000 bought their homes in the last 9 months of 2022. This is a prime example of FOMO, fear of missing out. People were jumping into these homes. Not only within the first 9 months of this year, it started last year. People were waiving financing, waiving home inspections. I'm sure you're hearing about just nightmare stories about people getting into new construction and finding out 6, 9 months later or 12 months later, the structural damages. It's under warranty, but the builder's nowhere to be found, or because there's a lack of labor, you can't get somebody to come back out and service whatever needs repair. It's just a hot mess. This was absolutely asinine, asinine, as 11, as 12 to get into a situation where you're going to make one of the largest purchases of your entire life and you're going to waive a home inspection. You're going to waive the appraisal. You're going to waive your finance. And if that doesn't fry your chicken, I got to stay true to my base, homies. If that doesn't fry your chicken, on top of all that, you're going to pay $100,000 and sometimes $200,000-$300,000 over asking price because you're going to rationalize that purchase by saying, hey, I'm getting a historical rate here at 3.8%, so I don't care. You don't care until you do. So let's go ahead and get back into the studio here. I want to wrap this up and give you guys some information as to why I think this is going to get worse. So there's about 13% of the mortgages are FHA, 10%, around 9% of VA, and 1% is USDA. Those are those farm or rural loans. So The FHA and VA and let's say farm loans make up almost about 25% or 1/4 of all the mortgages, and the lion's share, about 73 or 75%, is conventional. So why am I focusing on FHA, VA, and USDA loans? Because those loans require a minimum down payment well below 10%. FHA is 3.5, VA is no money down, USDA is relatively low. Sometimes you can get that at 1, 2, 3%, depending upon the circumstances. But the point being, these are all products, mortgage products, that do not require a significant down payment to buy the house. So these are the type of loans that are going to go into delinquency much quicker than conventional. But birds of a feather flock together. So if you're in an area that's mixed up with conventional loans, but you've got some FHA and you've got some VA loans within your basically your area, as those homes start to default and become short sales or distressed sellers, and they have to bring those prices down in order to sell, guess what? It brings your prices down as well. So once again, getting back onto these low down payment mortgages, as I've said in previous videos, normally, if you're going to sell your home through a real estate agent, you're going to pay 6%, 3% to the listing agent, 3% to the buyer's agent, which is the agent that brings the buyer to your house to buy it. So that's 6%. Closing costs on average is anywhere from around 2 to 3% of the sales price. So just for easy math, let's just round everything up and call it 10%. So when you're putting 3.5% down in the case of FHA, or no money down in VA, or very minimum amount down in USDA loans, you're already technically upside down in the mortgage because you didn't even put the 10% down to cover the real estate transaction and the closing costs. So on top of that, those type of loans that basically bought at the top of the market, now that those home prices are starting to fall down, come down in value, you still have that 10% that you have to allocate for 6% for the real estate agent, 2 to 3% for closing costs. So if your home value goes down by 10%, you're really down 20 when you factor in the aforementioned. So you see where I'm going with this? Just a hot mess. Inflation's at a 40-year high. Credit card debt is at an all-time high. Student loan payments haven't been paid in almost 3 years. And those of you who are waiting on the sideline, you better pray. And I mean pray that the Supreme Court agrees with the current president. I don't have a dog in that fight. I paid my student loans years ago because I'm guaranteeing you, people are creatures of habit. If you've got a $300, $400, or $500 payment and you haven't made that payment in 3 years, I guarantee you 90% of those that are in that category have reallocated that money for something else. They are not set up to have an infusion of a $300, $400, $500, $600 student loan payment restart in the summer of 2023, not in the wake of 40-year inflation, high gas prices, and high utility prices. So the personal savings rate is the worst it's ever been on record. They've been keeping this record since around January of 1959 or 1960. It's the worst that it's ever been. So when you have all of these milestones in a negative way, 40-year inflation, the worst credit card debt, highest student loan debt, personal savings rate at an all-time low. These are type of things, in my humble opinion, do not indicate that we're going to experience a shallow recession. We're going to have a deep, wide, systemic economic downturn in this country, and it's going to affect people's ability to be able to pay for their mortgage. So you're going to see these delinquency rates go up. You're going to see foreclosures start to rise. They're already starting to tick up. Watch how these numbers just explode by the first quarter of 2023. So in my humble opinion, I think you're going to see a lot more people who are underwater within the last 2 to 3 years. And some people think when it's all said and done, when you strip out inflation, prices may reset, nominally speaking. When you take out inflation, they could go as far back as 2015 or 2016. So the devil's always in the details. So I'm going to end this video with my famous quote: keep your credit score up and keep your debt down. And please take a moment to hit that like button if you are enjoying my type of videos. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and share the video if you think someone else could benefit from this type of content. This was the Kevin Strong Show, and I'll see you guys in the next video.